Hi guys, Melissa here at TCT Crafts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Today we are going to be making an everyday grapevine monogrammed greenery wreath. So I had a custom order to do one, and so I thought we would go ahead and do a tutorial on it. So we are going to be using this grapevine here. It is an 18-inch grapevine. I'm not going to worry about cleaning anything out. It looks pretty good. Maybe cut this little piece off right here. This one actually already has a hanger on it somewhere, or I thought it did. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to take this one off and I'm going to add a different one. So I'll show you guys how we add our hanger. We are going to go ahead and just kind of start with our base, get our letter situated, and then I'm going to put you guys up on the easel and we will finish it out up on the easel. Okay, so I've got I just used this paper wrapped wire. I get these from Paper Mart, but there may be other stores that have them, I'm not sure. I just slide it through my grapevine and twist. Okay, let me switch your view so you guys can see it. I'm just running it through that grapevine, grabbing several sections, just coming up and twisting. Okay, so now I have a little hanger, and sometimes I do that and then I get my hanger off center and I have to redo it, but well, hopefully that's pretty centered. But it's no big deal if we have to take that off and redo it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our letter placed, because I don't want to do that on the easel. It's easier to do that flat on the table. So I know I want it to go right in about here, so I'm trying to find good spots to put our pipe cleaner so that it will hold. There's a little big piece of grapevine right here, so I didn't want it to sit funny. So I think this is a good spot. Let me see if I have something to mark this with. If I don't, we'll just use my fingers. I don't. Okay. So let's just go. I know I want right about here. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over. Keep my finger there. And I am going to staple a pipe cleaner to this. But this letter is fairly thin. I do not want my staple to go through my letter. So just to be safe, I'm going to put a little bit of just some foam kind of right in here. Let me cut it down a little bit. Still trying to keep my eyeball where I want this. It's right in about this area. I'm just going to pipe cleaner and take my staple and staple that in. And we did not go through, so we're good. Okay. And then I will add a tiny bit of glue there. Just to make sure we're not going to go anywhere. Okay, let's get our next placement. Let me let that glue dry for a second. So I want to avoid, so I think right here in the center, just right in the center of that piece. So let me get my pipe cleaner. Before I add glue, let me see where I want my next one. So about right in here, kind of right where this tag was. Making sure I had my pipe cleaners sort of even. Okay, so I'm going to add the glue. I'm going to let that dry and we'll go ahead and we'll make our bow. I want to make my bow on the table just because I'm not very good at hand bows, so we're going to use our little easy bow maker. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside and let's make our bow. Let me clean my table just a little bit from all this grapevine. And I really need to clean my mat. Y'all see all that glue on there? It's a hot mess. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it is a hot mess of glue. So the ribbons are going to have a little bit of a farmhouse vibe. We're just doing just a basic sort of burlap ribbon with a pretty white lace trim, and then she wanted sort of a brown and white check. So these are the colors that we're going to be using. So I'm using a 2.5 and a 1.5. So let's go ahead and get our 2.5, and let's kind of eyeball where our tails. She didn't want very long tails, so let's go here. That's about maybe a 12-inch tail. And I'm just going to put it in and twist. Push my peg back in there a little bit. Okay, and we're going to go to about a 6-inch loop and twist. And then let's do another 6-inch loop and twist. We're going to do 2 loops on each side of this one. I'm doing them all the same size. So we have 4 loops, 2 on each side. Just kind of twist these out a little bit. And we'll go ahead and cut our tail. Okay, let's go in with our 1.5 now. And I think we're going to do 2 and 1 maybe of this one. Let's see. So just twisted. Let's go at about 5 inches. Go 5 inches, twist. You guys hear my dogs. I apologize. The Uline driver just called and he's delivering a pallet of boxes. And so my husband went to go get the forklift to help him, and his shadow is having a fit because she is not out there helping. We have a shepherd and she has to be with Daddy at all times. So he locked her in here and she's having a fit. Okay, and then let's do a center one at about 4. So the predominant ribbon is this check. If I'd had it in a 2.5, I might have just used all of the same ribbon, but I thought I'd go in with that 2.5 just to give it a little bit there in the back. But you definitely could use all one ribbon if you wanted, but we're just gonna. Okay, so we've got it up on our easel here. We're gonna go in first and we're just gonna create our base. So I'm just gonna be using a little bit of this Ficus. So So let's just cut a few pieces up of this. And that'll just kind of help set our perimeter. I'm going to cut up 2. So ficus is just an inexpensive way to kind of create our perimeter at, you know, kind of our shape. Okay, so I'm going to take my longer pieces here. And before we glue, let's just kind of get our placement. Okay, I'm going to take a shorter piece, a little bit shorter of a piece, and I'm going to go in up top. Okay, now we're at our transition point, so we're going to kind of go down. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a bend. Again, I'm not gluing yet. We're just kind of getting our perimeter. I'm going to go in with a shorter piece to kind of fill in back here. Let's cut it down just a hair. This up in. I think we need a piece. Just go right in here. Okay, so I think that looks good. Let me kind of step back and look at it. Got right in the middle of that light. Sorry about that, guys. This is a sort of a new view for me, so we'll see how it works. So now I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing these in. So I'm just going to clip them out, I cannot even talk today, dip them in my glue pot. Just running that in there. Now, like I mentioned before, you can use your moss. You need to cover some up. I'm going to take and just, oops, that one fell out. Just running that there in the grapevine. Okay, this piece we kind of had back behind the bow. On this side. I'm going to just pull that one out. Get them glued in and then we can shape them if we need to. So that's pretty good. That's just given us our outline. We're going to be filling it in with other greenery. That gives us a good outline. Now, let me kind of fix this a little bit so it's straighter. Okay. Okay, now we are going to go in with this, let's see if it has a name on it. It does not, but it's sort of like a seeded, maybe like a seeded boxwood. I don't know. I'm not very good with my greenery, so I apologize, but it's sort of a long seeded bush. So that's what we're going to be going in with first. So let me just cut this down. Get several pieces off of this one. Babe, can you call Piper? Okay, so let's get our placement. So I'm going to cut in. Don't like that. You guys are seeing just the back of my head. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let me find a shorter piece. They're all pretty long. If we have to cut it down, we can. So let me cut this one a little bit shorter. Because I don't want it too long up here at the top. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to cut. So I'm just cutting just this little bottom piece off just to make it a little bit shorter. We're not gluing yet. Let's just get our placement. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And let's cut this one too. As we start going down, we can start leaving them long. I just don't want it to have like this huge like mohawk thing going on up there. Okay, now we'll start kind of transitioning down. And I'm just kind of following the pattern that we had from our Ficus Leaves. Put one under here. And something I've learned kind of as I've been designing is that it's okay for it to come out and have movement. So when I first started doing the grapevines, I wanted everything to lay flat up against the grapevine, but that is not how things grow, right? So it's okay to have movement and have it come out from the wreath. Now I think we still need a piece right in here to kind of help with this transition, but I don't want it that long, so let's cut it down a little bit. Let me step back and take a look. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's get this one added. And we've got a couple little pieces if we want to put in around the bow. Maybe later we can, but we've got other greenery we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and start gluing this in. It may not go back in the exact place you pulled it out from, but you got an idea of kind of where you want it. You need to add some more. Ooh, that was hot. Add some more glue, my glue pot here. Let me add another stick. You guys let me know in the comments if you like it up on the easel, if you like this view, or if you'd rather it be behind the table. Either way is fine with me. I'm just trying to help you guys get a better view. Okay, this one I jammed in there, weird. Okay. The only thing with working this way is, you know, you're going to see the back of my head sometimes, but I've got to get in front of the wreath, so I'm trying to stand on the side as best I can. I'm going into the grapevine, but not too far where it's going to stick out the back. But we will double check it and make sure that we don't have anything that came through, so that we're not going to scratch our customer's door. Oh, I just stuck my finger on that glue pot. That was hot. I'll come to this side, make sure I've got it in there good. Okay. I'm going to turn the temperature on this glue down a little bit. Okay. And I'll probably, when I get it done and I get it on the table, I'll go in with my glue gun and just hit it and make sure we've got it in there pretty good. But I think that's the only thing when you're pulling them out and gluing them, is sometimes you forget which pieces you've already done. Or I do anyway. So that's why sometimes it's easier for me just to glue as I go, but then once you glue, sometimes it makes it harder to pull it out if you need to fix it. Okay, so we've got that piece added. We're going to go in now with, I have a few pieces of, so the picture she showed me, she had some leathers leaf in it. So we're going to go in with a few pieces of leathers leaf, and then I brought in a Dusty Miller, which is very similar. Obviously it's a little bit different of a leaf, but it has sort of the same texture. So I know I don't want my stem that long. I think we can, let's do one there. And I only had a little bit of this left, So we're only going to get a few pieces, so I'm going to be strategic with where we place it. And thinking right in here. So we've got kind of 3 pieces there, and we're going to go in with our Dusty Miller, which has the same texture, just a different leaf. We're going to add some of that in there as well. Let's get these added in here. I think I might have didn't I call this Letters Leaf or Lamb's Ear a while ago? I don't remember, but this is Lamb's Ear. All right, let's get this one. Okay. So now we're going to go in with our Dusty Miller. I think I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut it. So I'm just going to cut it right here. So I'm getting this little cluster, okay? And then I have this little cluster. Now this has a thicker stem on it, so getting it in the grapevine might be a little bit more difficult. I'm thinking right here behind our bow. I'm going to go ahead and get the glue on that. Okay. Let's take this piece and maybe go right in there. Okay, I felt that one go through, so let me just kind of pull it. Okay. Let's put one here. So we're going to go in between where we put these stems, our Lamb's Ear, we're going to put the Dusty Miller. Okay. So let me get another one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it up the exact same way as I did the last one. So that's going to give us 2 sections. Okay, so in between these 2. I just tore 2 of those leaves off just to give me a little bit more stem. I don't have my pick machine up here. Let me look at it. Okay, I think it looks good. Okay, before we add any more greenery, let's add a couple flowers that she wanted. I'm thinking we will add this one here. don't want to cover up our bow too much, so let's go. We may have to move that leaf off of there. Let me see if I want to leave that leaf. Let me look at it. It's quite pretty. It just hides our bow a little bit. Let's go ahead and get this one added. And I gave that stem a bend so that it would sort of go up into the grapevine. And this one. Again, I'm going to go straight up with it. Make sure I'm getting in the grapevine good, which I am. Okay, let's see how that looks. Pretty. Okay, I like it. So I only have 2 of these. So we're going to go in. I have another flower. I thought about adding a few of these in here. It's a little bit different of a color, but I think it'll still be okay. Let me get my placement. Sorry guys, let's move this way and see. Okay, and let's get one more. I'm trying to see if I want it here or if I want it here. So let's start here and let me take a look. Go here. Oh, I think I'm going to do it over here. And let me cut the stem down just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, and the last piece of greenery I think we're going to add is just, this is a seeded eucalyptus. I'm going to add this, fill it in. I still have a little bit of this if we need to add. I'm almost thinking we need to add a piece right here behind the bow. Since I didn't add that flower, I think it needs another little piece right back here. So let's go ahead and get that added. See if I can get it in there. Begin to fill. There we go. Let me hit that with my glue gun because I kind of messed with it a little bit and I want to make sure it's in there good. Okay, now we're just going to go in with this seeded eucalyptus and we're just going to fill in sort of our holes. So I'm going to probably use at least 2 of these. So let me go ahead and just get them cut up. I had brought a fern too. I thought about using, but I think it's looking pretty good. I don't think we need to add the fern leaves. And if I was to add them, I would have probably added them after the ficus, or instead of using the ficus, I could have used the fern. But as I started going, I was like, I don't think we really need it. Okay, so I'm going to start using this to kind of fill in some holes. Okay, let me look on this side. Come in right there. I'm going to come in on the top this time a little bit, fill in some of the up here. We might need another little piece right there. So I might end up using 3 of these. We'll see. I'm going to cut this stem down just a hair. Okay, I'm going to go kind of underneath a little bit. If I like that right there. I'm going to pull it out. We'll come back to that spot. Okay. Let's go right under here. I'm going to pull off 2 of these leaves. Give me a little bit more stem. Okay, we'll fill in a little bit on the inside underneath the bow. Get another piece under there. Let's get a piece right in the center. So I'm just pushing these up a little bit. These are pushers. So what I mean by pushing it up is I'm just taking these and you can just slide the stems down and it makes it more of a cluster, or you can leave it like longer. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's add one right underneath. Right under here. Let's add one right on the side. So it looks like it's just kind of, our bow is just kind of growing out of our bow. We can intertwine it a little bit. We'll add a piece right in there in a second, but I want to get ahead of myself. So we're kind of filling in the center. Let's continue filling out the outside a little bit. Again, I'm just pushing this up just a little bit. So the last piece I did down here was here. So let's go in right about there. Okay, now we'll go in right there, kind of in between these two pieces. I think it needs one more piece right in here. I'm going to leave it a little longer. There we go. Okay, I'm going right there. Just working my way around. We're starting to get to that transition point, so that one kind of came out. These kind of came down. Now we're going to start working our way up like that. And I will end up using 3 of these. Let me go ahead and cut up the last one. So again, these, we're just kind of continuing to go around. This one I'm going to cut down just a hair. We don't want this wreath having like the 90s bangs going on. And here's the, you don't want it sticking up too high. I'm going to go right here. Who rocked the 90s bangs? Did y'all rock the 90s bangs? I know I did. Okay. I looked back on some of those pictures and I'm like, what in the heck was I thinking? We kind of got a hole right here, so I'm thinking we might need, but I want to make sure we have enough to fit. So let's finish that out, that side out, and then we may come back to that spot. I'm going to break this section up right here. Let's put a piece right up there. Going to go right behind our bow there. Okay, we'll add a piece there. And I think we're about, this is the last one of this piece. I really could have probably used one more, but we'll make it work. Okay, now right back here, I got a little bit of a hole, so let's see what we can add from our leftovers. Yeah, let's fill it in with this. I'm going to fill in this hole back here. I like that. And we have just a couple little pieces of scraps. Let's see if we can, I'm going to come back this hole right here. I really need a pick on this, but maybe we can. Maybe I can get it in there. Okay, just that one little leaf really helped. And I think we are done. Just a simple, elegant, sort of a little bit of a farmhouse vibe. But I think it turned out really pretty. What do you guys think? So I will take some pictures and get it hung up for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time. Bye, y'all.